taught me how to live. Daddy taught me how to give. Both of them had their own sins. Down to the river, every man has felt the shame. All our blood, it runs the same. Father, hear us as we pray. Down to the river, down to the river. Sing, oh, oh, bury me, carry me, oh, oh, far beneath, oh, oh, fire and water me, going down deep, singing, oh, oh, bury me, carry me, oh, oh, far beneath, oh, oh, fire and water me, washing me clean, carry
Hi, welcome to the Cryptid Wilderness Research Podcast. I am Daniel Becker up here in the Arctic abyss of Anchorage, Alaska. And joining me as always from Quincy, Washington, my fellow host, Matt Slater.
Hello.
Matt, what's the latest?
We're dealing with freezing rain. I've been stuck inside. Can't go anywhere. It's a skating rink.
Yeah, we've had some freezing rain up here as well. And there's a ice sheet outside even as we speak, more so than usual. Today on the show, we have our mentors, CWR team members, first from Texarkana, Arkansas, William Lunsford, and from Locksburg, Arkansas, Stephen Hill, two gentlemen that we refer to as field generals in cryptid research. So we're real happy to have them on. Why don't you go ahead and bring them in?
Hey.
Gentlemen.
Hey, guys. How are you this evening?
Yeah, good deal, man. I'm good. How about everybody else?
Doing great.
Doing great.
Y'all are thinking this is probably a male beauty contest, but it's actually Cryptid with me and Stephen here.
So as I said before, Matt and I consider you two field generals in cryptid research. Your research in Ground Zero is really unparalleled and such a great job that you've done down there. And we appreciate all the help you've given to us. You are definitely our mentors in this area, and we have learned so much from you guys. So it's always a pleasure to have you on.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, go ahead, Stephen. Thanks for those nice words.
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words. I mean, I appreciate you having me back. It's fun. It's always fun when we can get together and do this.
Me and Stephen don't get to do that much right now. He's got a little 12-year-old young man on his hands now. So we just saw him here just before we started the show there. And so he's busy being a dad, which is fine with me. We've always said with each other, family comes first. But I think that's one thing that makes us successful is we have the same kind of hopefully good values there. And but when it comes to looking for Bigfoot, Dogman, and all other things in between, we take it pretty doggone serious. And I'm very fortunate to have Stephen as a partner. Like I said, he's the best researcher that now people have heard of. Many haven't, but they have now. And very, very fortunate to have him, man. I couldn't do this without him. He's my sounding board, as far as that goes. So for down here. And so we've been friends for a long time. And that ship will last till we both die. And then some, I hope. So,
yeah.
Another thing I appreciate about you guys is that when I'm in the field with you, you protect me from the poisonous snakes. And I really do appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. But first night we went there with Stephen there, we got a rattlesnake crossing the road. We're just about to get out, and all of a sudden Stephen slams on the brakes. Well, it was too late for the rattlesnake. And me and Daniel, when we went down here the first time down here in Mercer Bayou, there's a cottonmouth deciding he's going to try to cross the road. And then when me and Daniel are there at Ground Zero, and then it's actually February, but it's a warm February, and we have a friend of ours that let us know that there's a rattlesnake up there on the trail. So so there's a.
So your research area is nicknamed Ground Zero, And as mentioned, I've had the pleasure to be out in the field with you guys many times down there. So Ground Zero is known for Sasquatch, but it's also known for dogmen. So tell us about the time that you first realized that dogmen are there.
Go ahead, Steve.
The first time that I realized that Dogman was in Ground Zero was it would have been at least a full year before we got the photo of the Dogman.
Yeah.
What it was, we were out, that field had just been bedded or ripped or whatever there, so they could plant trees on it. And in between the rips, we found a trackway. Now the trackway, for me to match the width, I would have to spread my pinky finger out a little bit to try to get it to somewhere between 4.5 and 5 inches wide. It was actually a little bit bigger than the Dogman trackway that we show people. For whatever reason, I didn't take any photos or videos of it. I mean, it was pretty much about a 30-inch stride in between tracks, is what it was, and it was just wasn't quite a single file as what the picture is. I mean, it had just a slight offset in it. I mean, just very little. It was only about 6 inches or so, the offset. They weren't just one directly in front of the other like the photo is. And I think William and I will agree on that. I think the first trackway we found, that one was walking upright, and that second one, I think it was running upright. Is what we believe the difference is with those. So, but yeah, and to be honest about it, I didn't want to make too much out of it because I really didn't want William to get to thinking, man, we got Dogman in here too. I definitely didn't want him to get spooked up Ground Zero, so I didn't make too much out of it.
Well, I've had experience with Dogman before. Me and Stephen even got back to renewed our friendship. Our friendship never stopped, but he actually contacted me there, and we got to where we're doing a research together. But I have one up there not far from Stephen, probably about 15 miles, a place called Dogman, Arkansas. They're on East 9th Street going towards Dogman Lake up there. And when he stepped across the road, he had that funny walk, and I'm like, is that a Bigfoot? But I knew it. I didn't think it was Bigfoot. I wasn't. I was very, very sure there's as many people that were having Dogman encounters that it was around, but I was hoping we didn't have it in Arkansas. My wife, please don't go to talking about Dogman because it's hard enough to defend you as a Bigfoot researcher, and it is because Stephen's wife will tell you the same thing, man. So anyway, so I said, well, I won't. So finally, so we started getting enough reports, but then we started getting pictures there at Ground Zero. We started getting the traction. I mean, on a regular basis. And then we're down there one day, and Stephen gets old granddaddy walking up the hill. They're leading 3 Bigfoot up there, and all of a sudden, talk about it because I wouldn't feel right if somebody got hurt with one of these things. I actually saw one also down here off the Sulphur River, off Highway 67 in Texarkana, not Texarkana, but from Sims, Texas, not far from Texarkana there. And again, he had that same kind of real crazy high step and walk, like the arms were backwards, instead of like Bigfoot, just got regular legs like we got, but their legs are kind of, like what a dog's legs were.
Yeah. And honestly, there's the photo that has a glare on it. Those are some Bigfoot there. But if you look closely at the one photo in the middle that's kind of in between the trees, there's actually a dog-headed creature there with the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So I mean, we actually have more than one photo of a Dogman. We just never really have pushed the issue too much.
That's right.
We've actually got a video that Williams never went public with it. He's never showed it before, and we think it's probably more of a Dogman.
Yep.
So it's as far as having the encounters with a Dogman, the truth is, we've had we've known about them. We just never said much about it. until we got the photo that day.
Yeah, I might not even be here if Stephen would have seen that thing walking up the hill, because me and Stephen are always cutting up, and I was dragging up the rear right there. Had to do some late adjustments on the camera, and like I said, we're always teasing with each other, and all of a sudden Stephen goes, "Stop!" And I said, "What did I do?" He goes, "No, stop." He points down there, and here comes that doggone Dogman that looks like a hyena, about 7 foot tall, wide shoulders, wide head, and he's actually leading 3 Bigfoot up there up this hill.
Yeah.
And so we stop, and he kind of stops. Where I say he slows down, he don't necessarily stop. He just stops his forward progress there. And the Bigfoot squat down. They do a little walk there, real close to the ground, and then they leave. And then so we're standing there watching this situation right there. Then I see something move over there, and sure enough, there's a baby dog man that runs over and gets underneath this laying log right there. This is kind of upright, just a little upright, but not totally parallel to the ground, but it's kind of at an angle right there. But he's stuck underneath there right there. And we just looked at each other and like, oh my gosh, I never expected to have that good of a sighting. This is what, Stephen, I can't tell you how many yards it was, but there wasn't nothing between us and it except for air.
Yeah, just that broom sage grass that you've seen that you walk through out there, Daniel.
Yep.
That's all that was between us, And I mean, here, William and I know we're both no kill on cryptids as long as they're not a threat to us. We actually had a 4570 with us that day, and we set the gun down so we could take pictures.
That's right. We did, and that's exactly right. That 4570 will shoot lengthwise to the buffalo.
Yeah,
and it's a very, very strong gun. But like I said, so far, the picture, you'll see some of the picture we got. Some are clear, some are not, but each of them's got their own personality. I'm beginning to judge from the trackways that we're finding in the tracks that there's actually different kinds of dogman down there. Mm-hmm. We got that big hyena looking one, then we got the ones got the long ears up there like that. We got some kind of ears kind of go out to the side. We got one called the Witch. It's just I'm sure it's a dog man, although it's could be a Bigfoot. You just don't know. But very, very scary, real gnarly teeth. Got another and there's got real gnarly. So I'm sure that we got different kinds. Everybody thinks dog man is a new entity. That's just everybody wanting to join the family. I think it's 1887, if I'm not mistaken. It's Wexford, Michigan. If I'm not mistaken, it's where the first dog man encounter came. And it was staying up north there, real close to Michigan. Up north of the border around Canada, and then coming down. And I'm like, well, great, man, we don't have them here. Well, as things tend to do, they're tending to migrate. I watched a show one day there from Palmyra, Maine. It was called the Palmyra Werewolves, but evidently it was dogmen. It's come up on this family's house. 5 of them came up on this family's house, and the man's wife actually made him have his guns in the barn, and so they had no way to defend themselves, and it got really hairy for them. But that was a good show. I checked it, did some background research as much as I could, but I couldn't find anything in there that didn't fit with what me and Stephen had already found as far as for with our own research. So they've been around for a long time. It's not just anything new that's come around. It's not everybody wanting to jump on the bandwagon and get through 15 minutes of fame, like we say. It's actually a creature's been around for a long, long time. And it's just now starting, maybe the population is starting to grow. Maybe or people are more aware. We got more people out there that are actually looking for Bigfoot and Dogman because hopefully because of shows like y'all's, and hopefully because of the things that me and Stephen have tried to present credibly. And so it is. So it's really it's something that's really, really it's catching on. And as long as he's not catching me, we're good there.
Right. Yeah.
So for our viewers that are not familiar with this cryptid, are these cryptids more elusive than Sasquatch? Are they more aggressive than Sasquatch?
For me, they run together around here. The Dogman's not more aggressive than the Bigfoot. They run together around here. We have more than one picture to show that the Dogman's actually with the Bigfoot. I know whenever William and I came forward a few years ago talking about this, and there were Bigfoot in the same area with the Dogman, there hadn't been very many reports at all where the Dogman and the Bigfoot were actually getting along and living in harmony together. So that was something new to the cryptid world, as far as we know.
It was. I did a show there with Vic Cundiff there. Vic has Dogman Encounters, and I had told him what me and Steven had found there. So we did a show right there, and he said that's strange. I've never heard that before, but and it may just be due in this area rather than nationwide or whatever wide, continent wide, whatever, that they actually have that relationship. But they do have that right down here in Arkansas. They've got that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
They may fight like brothers whenever we're not in our sight, but so far, so far it hadn't been that way. Nor has the aggressiveness. The ones me and Stevens have seen have not been aggressive. Now we've heard that howl, buddy. I guarantee you, that howl will grow hair on your head. Now, I'm telling you, and it will really scare you. It's almost like that. I heard one down at Smith Park one night down in Texarkana, and it was almost like American Werewolf in London. They did that real low guttural, like, oh my gosh, please don't be what I think that is. And so I had somebody with me. They wanted to leave, and we did. I wasn't real sure about that. So
now audio research is also a big part of your team. So do you guys pick up very, very many vocalizations from Dogman at all?
Probably the one from the Dark Woods where we took you that night, Daniel. There quite possibly could be something in there in that mix because it's a mixture of coyotes, Bigfoot, and there possibly could be something else in there. I know from that audio that the first time I played that for my wife, I could see the chill bumps on her arm just listening to the audio because it sounded like the gates of the underworld had opened up.
Yeah, when I first went out with you guys, one of the things that surprised me so much was just how loud the forest is down there. I'm used to it being really quiet up here, but down there, I mean, I appreciate you guys teaching me about the different sounds of the forest because it was so loud.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is, down here where we are, and I believe this with all my heart, I'm not just pulling your leg or trying to scare anybody. I truly believe every time any of us go down there where we are, they're researchers, I believe we're being watched. There's just that many of those creatures down there. They're really, and like I say, by creature, I say not the created, not the creator, but the created. So creatures, not any kind of disrespect to them. Everybody knows how I feel about Bigfoot. Bigfoot has changed my life. And, but how Reverend, like I said, Oma, boss of the woods or boss of the mountains, So when I say that, it's not any type of derogatory remark. It's a remark of respect. Everybody goes. One guy asked one of my buddies down there at Pineville, Louisiana. He said he had his deer was stolen from him. So one of the buddies asked me, he said, well, "You mean something like Bigfoot?" And the guy answered him, and this is a guy that my buddy didn't know. He goes, "There's nothing like Bigfoot." Now that's coming from old guy down from the Louisiana swamps down there. And so that's truly how I feel. But it is, but we're so far, like I said, we've been very lucky. We hadn't had any kind of aggression. Now I've had aggression there. There's another type cryptid there. And I told folks the other night here on Paranormal Among Us there, I did a show that truly there, I think that a lot of the bad depressed Dogman gets is actually coming from the Gugway. Right, which is a type Bigfoot. The one I actually showed you the picture. You'll be able to see it, Daniel, and see that dude. But that dude right there, all he wants to do is kill. And they say that was actually what did the killing at LBL years ago of the family up there. It wasn't a Dogman. It was actually a Gugway. Gugway's got some nasty teeth, nasty teeth. Yeah, and you'll see that picture of the witch on there, and you'll see those teeth come up from the bottom right there. Looks like somebody in bad need of a dentist appointment, man. But I'm telling you,
with the Gugway, the other nickname for the Gugway is the face eater.
Yeah, face eater.
And also the other thing that I believe is the Gugway that one of the native tribes up north gave it was the thing that hunts people.
Yeah.
So
whistling bear, another name. Shows you just kind of, very few people, I've been thinking about this. Everybody says, well, you're just mistaking a big bear for a Bigfoot. Well, why isn't it right the other way around? How come people aren't mistaking Bigfoot for bear? You're just hearing it one way. And that doesn't make any sense because I'm telling you, there's a difference and you can tell the difference. Man, a bear sees a Bigfoot and he'll run with his, if he had a longer tail, it'd be between his legs and he'd go away, like a little dog. Bigfoot is an amazing, amazing animal. You're not ready for the size. You're not ready for the speed. And so right there, if can they coexist with bears? So I don't know. I had one there down at Smith Park that actually a bear came up and the Bigfoot was rubbing his back on a tree. We came back there about 2 weeks later, and the bear had scratched on the Bigfoot tree with his fingernails. I'm that ain't going to be good. Come back about the next week. Like I said, you can see where Bigfoot has reached above the bear about 4 feet and come down with his fingernails. And the bear that I have found hasn't been back there since. Of course, it's been a black bear, but a black bear kills more people than a grizzly bear. So it's a very, very strange thing that we have there. But the Dogman is a creature that me and Stephen, that I'm still learning about. It's kind of fun because I've been doing Bigfoot research for 47 years. You learn something every time, but I'm learning more about Dogman, and again, like Stephen said, there's a symbiotic relationship there somewhere that one tends to benefit off of the other.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So before we go to the slideshow, I want to pass the baton up to Matt in the Pacific Northwest. Matt, what you got? I haven't heard very many reports up in your neck of the woods in Washington about Dogman. Mostly, I just hear about Bigfoot up there.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything, Matt?
I haven't heard anything about Dogman up here. I'm sure they're probably here, because they seem to be everywhere the Bigfoot are. But I haven't heard anything about Dogman up here in Washington. It's not really talked about that much. But my question is, you have Dogman and Bigfoot together. What do you think that symbiosis? What's the end game for that symbiosis? Are they like sharing hunting? Is it protection? Do you think maybe?
I think both of those are good ideas. That we don't know for sure, but too, like I said, hunting as far as protection. There's always strength in numbers. When me and Stephen, there's times that when things get kind of rough around ground zero, we don't go by ourselves.
Right.
When they truly. And I think it's probably that. So again, maybe they have been around each other all that time, and they don't look at it like a wicked stepbrother or something like that. Or so it's just hard to say what their relationship is. But again, it's there. It's definitely there, and around our area anyway. Mm-hmm. And I would like to find out more. But Steve and I are still learning. Even though we're not haven't been in the woods as much lately. Whenever we have some spare time, we're spending our time reading. Stephen works on has his own logging business, so Stephen's out in the woods all day long. And all day long, I mean, thick woods there in the mountains and everything else too. And wherever I was a UPS man, once I left the metro areas there, I had my UPS route. It was a union job. I bid to where I was running down the banks and the woods around Sulphur River, which is the key to Bigfoot basically down here. And so just for that reason, so we're steadily trying to learn, or the learning never stops down here. And I'm not afraid to ask people. I've had a lot of people come up to me that have just, with a story that I didn't even know them before, and they say, "Man, your voice, aren't you the Bigfoot guy?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Man, what do you know about Dogman?" I know to stay away from him and keep my tennis shoes on. But still, and I'll tell them, and they'll, "Man, let me tell you here. There's a lady used to live about 3 miles from Smith Park down there where we go, and she had one behind her house, and it was screaming so often that she got to where she didn't like to go out at night. Well, then she wouldn't go out during the daytime because it was just that scary to her. And then another man there saw one. He was going down Sulphur River running some trot lines down there, and he actually saw one going down the riverbank there. And again, he said the same one. Said the walk was the same way, that kind of reverse, just kind of high step and walk like that. So, man, when it gets your attention, it's something that you're just like, oh my goodness, this is something that's supposed to exist on the 10:30 late movie, not right here in the heart of good old Arkansas.
Yeah. It's as far as the relationship between the two. I know William has experienced this at Ground Zero as well, the same way that I have. There are times when you can go to Ground Zero and it's no different than being in your yard, even though the Bigfoot might be around. I mean, it's that peaceful. And there are other times when you can go to ground zero and your skin will start crawling. You may not see anything there, but it's that, I don't know, a lot of researchers talked about what they call a wall of fear, which is something that you'll run into. And if you get out there in the woods enough, I mean, sooner or later you're going to run into this thing where I don't need to take another step in that direction that I'm going. I need to stop here. I need to go back the way that I came from. And so it makes me wonder, you know, William, he's had that encounter with the Gugway down there around Falk, in the Falk area. So, I mean, it really makes me wonder, you know, have they teamed up to protect themselves from something else? I mean, I'm not saying that's what it is, but that's the question that I have in my mind.
You know, somebody wearing a green shirt right there experienced that wall of fear the first day he ever went to ground zero. When we went in there, it was like you were driving across a live electrical wire there on the ground. He and I both, man, just getting the chills on the neck. And Danny goes, "Oh my gosh!" He goes, "This place is electric right now," and it was. And that, I think we saw two that day within like 10 minutes, just real quick. We got the big one of the picture, and then got the picture of the mom that's got the baby when she's walking across the field. But they were just like you said, Stephen. It was just what you could feel. There was not necessarily it was kind of a sense of unease at first because it was so charged that you didn't know what you was gonna deal with. So it is. There's times it is that way, and like I said, me and Stephen, I called him one time there and got a picture of something other, and he met me out there about 5 o'clock in the morning. That was not a good feeling either, because what I got the picture of that looked to be a picture of a dog man there. And so we went back there. So, but it's something that's it's not just this new creature. It's not just in Arkansas. I've got a friend in North Carolina. He's got him on his property, and his according to him, are not aggressive at all. They're the same way. He said they'll come around the house. You can see them kind of slinking around, but as far as any kind of attack, as far as hurting his animals or threatening his children or his home, he's not having any of that kind of experience at all.
Now, when we had the drones up, I saw in the distance the foothills going up into a mountain range. Can you remind me again what that mountain range is?
Yeah, we're at the foothills of the Ozark, or the Ouachita's.
The Ouachita's.
Do you guys
go ahead, Dan.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we also have the Boston Mountains, part of the Boston Mountains here, and we also have the Ozarks here. So we got a lot of the Ouachita's are in our. It starts right there, not really too far from Stephen's house, but you can see those foothills where they go up. But Arkansas has got 19 million acres of forested ground there, and as far 11.9 billion trees. And then whenever you start going up in the hills there and everything else too, I'm sure it intensifies there as well, as far as the count gets bigger. So that's, and we're basically in an agrarian state there. A lot of our stuff comes from produce, comes from chickens, some of the richest chicken producers and things like that. And then as far as milk and things along those ways. So it's really, and so civilization hasn't creeped in on Arkansas as bad as what it has on some of these other states. But one of the funny things is, one of the most populated areas, from the reports that I have gotten from people at times, is right around Little Rock, which is our state capital, right there around Little Rock Air Force Base, which is basically just like a wildlife management area. They got it all gated off like they do the rest of the stuff. You got all these forests, rivers, sloughs, and everything else like that. And I get a lot of reports from up there. I said right there just outside the state capital.
Yep.
Do you think that the cryptids that you guys encounter in Ground Zero are coming down from those foothills?
That would make a lot of sense for me. That they would have come down from there, because the state line, with the Arkansas-Oklahoma state line, from to where it goes into Texas up to I don't know, south of Mansfield or Waldron, up in there. The whole area, they're all over the place. So, and that would make sense to me, that they could have come from there. But I mean, but we have a report. I found a report one time, was it the 1850s down there where we call the Dark
Yeah.
Woods? So I mean, I think they've been here for a very long time.
It was called the Arkansas Wild Man right through there. And like Steve said, about 1850, right there close to Paraclifton, which is what, 13 miles from your house, something like that, where the original Paraclifton was. And of course, of the monsters here around Falk, I think they've been here, for the same amount of time too. They're just more visible. Maybe they're just more aggressive to where they're not as shy. I don't think the ones that we have up there in the foothills up there, I don't think they're near as aggressive as what we have down here in Falk. These down here in Falk, man, they got some bad attitudes, man. It's like a street gang, So I think it does, but I think that's a good observation, Daniel, because you look at all these states like Oklahoma. Well, Oklahoma, to me, from the study that I do, I think Oklahoma is the most up-and-coming state right now as far as for Bigfoot sightings. We have a friend named Chuck Slabs. Chuck used to have a podcast called Oklahoma Chasing the Beast, and man, I mean, he was hearing something new all the time. And Chuck he's a researcher second to none. And then, like I said, you get around Texas, down there around the Sam Houston National Forest and stuff, it seems to be a little bit different, down there. Those down there tend to be, maybe a little bit more aggressive, but it's a different type of terrain, too, and then a different kind of food chain there, because, like I said, everything around there tends to want to hurt you whenever you want to hurt it. If the Bigfoot's going to eat, he's going to get stung, he's going to get nailed, he's going to get stuck with deer horns, he's going to get bit by a snake. Those guys going to have to fight. And so it does. I think that really tends to make a difference. And I'm not trying to sensationalize that. Gosh, we've seen so many things. Not that Bigfoot everything it eats it kills, but Bigfoot is an opportunistic feeder, and I'm sure Dogman is too. The Dogman down here, we just haven't found the kills down here that we have, like we have from the Bigfoot. But I think Dogman is really starting to really get around here, and it's pretty neat. That we haven't found we haven't found everything that everybody thinks, well, man, we found everything there is. We're not even close. Me and Stephen are having more and more things show up on our cameras that we can't identify. And oh man, I mean, we got something there that looks like a thylacine, which is the Tasmanian tiger. And back whenever that thing was coming in state, they took and they kind of shipped these things all around the world. And me and Steve were there one night. Sure enough, here's a creature looks like a thylacine. That looks like it may have evolved a little bit instead of having just the basic stripes. Looks like it has like more of a kind of a black or darker saddle. But the jaws, the round ears, and everything else, and there's no doubt what that is. And has it. Has it survived? Has it intermingled? Has it inbred or anything else like that? So when we're seeing more and more of these things, and I have a friend here. He actually, I met his wife last year at the last September, not this past, but the one last year there at the Dogman conference in Fort Worth, and her husband has actually killed a dogman. His name is Joe Barger, and Joe actually. I got his story from his wife there, and Joe's a super guy. He's just like, he could sit down if there's another space here on the computer with us, sit down at that space right there and pick right in. Just a good old country guy. He's not trying to chip in and be somebody that he's not. But this darn thing he was driving his diesel truck, and this thing all of a sudden he looks back out his window, and they're about 9 foot tall, and here's one of these things running outside his window trying to reach inside and get him. Joe just happens to have a pistol. And Joe just blows him away. Mm-hmm. A couple of days later, the state police stop him up there at the rest area and say, "You need to wait here at this rest area." He goes, "Why?" He goes, "We got some people want to talk to you." And sure enough, evidently some people from the government came up and approached Joe, and they said, "Why did you kill our asset?" And he goes, "What are you talking about?" They said, "We know you killed something the other day. Why did you kill it?" And he goes, "Well, let's ask a different question." He goes, "Let's ask why your asset was trying to kill me." He said, "I shot him right outside my window." They didn't have a good answer for that, and whether it was something that had been, by quote, RSat, whether it had been actually selectively bred and created or whatever it was, or I don't know. But if you talk to Joe and you get that story from him, man, Joe be just like us, man. You'll see the tears forming his eyes and everything else too. And his wife just as honest as the day is long. So there's things there that are happening, but you don't hear about Joe's story. Now, Joe's finally starting. He did a show. It was supposed to be on one of the TV shows here that's pretty popular here. I'm not going to give the name because I got in touch with him and got him on Duke's show. But as far as the TV show, something happened and I don't know what. And I'm not going to bring reproach on either one of them there. Something happened that Joe's show didn't get to go on the air. And it was a very, very popular show. And so I asked his wife, called me not too long ago, and said, Joe's show didn't get to air for some reason. I don't know what that is, what reason that is, but whatever it is, it's Joe's as honest. He's as honest as any of us right here, and he was gracious to share his show with me. Love his wife. Like I said, very, very honest lady, very, very sweet, very proud of her husband. She's not, do people call you crazy whenever you tell them about these things? Yes, they do. So what? Man, I've been called worse than that, So what does crazy hurt? As a matter of fact, the way my mind is now, that may be a compliment. That may my IQ may be coming back some, But anyway, a guy like that right there, just as honest as he can be. And there's a lot of people out there that are getting these stories. So again, for Dogman, for Stephen and I, it's very, very real. And it's just something that, like I said, some of the pictures we get, there's some things showing up in those pictures. And man, I mean, like they're just right there. And there's no denying it's something other that's a cryptid. Most of them got pointed ears, funky teeth, and all that other stuff like that. But on that right there, but we're getting more and more of those. So are they coming around? Yes. Are they coming down from the hills? Possibly. But whatever it is, it's something for us to be aware of. Anytime you go in the woods, you got to be aware of what you have on your surroundings. But we're glad you guys have got a venue here that we can talk to y'all squarely, and that we're not lying because look at you, you've been there with us. You know what's there. And like I said, I tell people, Steven's never told a lie in his life, So he might have one time. He said, Will's a good guy. So that might be the only story that he's told. But I tell you what, there's not a better researcher than that guy right there in that black shirt right there. Yeah. I promise you. Man, he's woods wise, good hunter, man, very, very outdoor savvy. He knows what's going on. And when Stephen is a benefit to my research. And actually, to any cryptid research that they have there, because Stephen's going to bring some points. He sees things when you're in the woods all day. He's actually seen actual fruit of Bigfoot coming down the mountain. They weren't there, then they were. And I don't know how many there were, but there was a bunch of them over there, all of a sudden a bunch of black spots out there, of course, as far away as he was. But he's got pictures of them, moving, everything else like that. So, again, let's see, if Stephen says it, I'm certainly going to pay more attention to it. Because he's not out trying to make a name for himself. Like I said, his wife just freaked out when she saw that first picture. Like I said, she had they're going to chill bump size mosquito bites,
Yeah, it's something else I want to add too. You were talking about Joe's encounter. I was told one time by somebody that as far as those assets, what the plan was at one time was to go ahead and take certain types of dogs, and they were going to put human intelligence in these dogs. And they did this in a different country where the genetic manipulation is not as regulated as it is here. And they brought some of them back to the U.S. So that's about all I'm comfortable saying on that right there. But yeah.
And I was definitely going to ask the question to both of you: what do you think these creatures are?
Yeah, as far as the dogmen around here, they seem to be just as natural. The ones that we've encountered, they seem to be just as natural as the Bigfoot around here. But at the same time, there are other people, other entities who are genetically modifying things, and whether they're releasing them into the wild on purpose or they're just letting them out to see how they do or whatever, I don't know. But there's some other stuff that's actually going on, Then you fall into other rabbit holes where people speculate that it's aliens or something like that, which I'm not necessarily convinced of that. for me personally, I tend to think they're fallen angels is what the aliens actually are. So.
I agree.
You can't prove one entity that is a, quote, rumor, unquote, because we know Bigfoot is not a rumor, but you can't prove one rumor with another rumor. You've got to have something substantial. me and Stephen got something substantial. I said, we got a lot of pictures. You've seen it, and then you've been there. You've seen the tracks. Gosh, y'all seen some of the 17-inch, 22-inch tracks. We've actually got scat there that, man, would have crippled a man if it would have been some of his stuff, and there in those woods. And so it is. It's one of those things that's really there, and you got to square your mind. But like I said, thank goodness so far haven't been aggressive, except for the Gugway that was going to get me down here. And then I had two encounters with Bigfoot that were not going to go very, very well as far as that goes. And so, like I said, I had to pull a gun on those two. But the Dogman, just by the grace of good, not the dog, the Gugway, by the grace of good Lord, I'm here, because he actually, like I said, he stopped and set up on a laying log there. Like I said, he's got these big roots sticking up there, and he's got his head stuck right there like he's trying to hide from me, because he's going to. And I actually found they have this, what we call hunting blinds. Stevens found them as well, where they get in there and they use to catch their prey and stuff like that. And there was 2 hunting blinds within 50 yards right there where I saw that Gugway. And so when you're seeing these things, so again, is it some kind of Bigfoot? Is it some kind of Dogman? We just don't know yet. And gosh, I hope we're there if we get enough people that are telling us, sharing their encounters like what they are right now. And just because something hasn't happened to you doesn't mean it hasn't happened to somebody. I mean, that's the honest truth.
Absolutely.
So,
now, Ground Zero, you guys have got cameras everywhere. You've got them in brush piles. You've got them on trees, in trees, in bushes. I mean, you guys have really strategically placed your cameras. Now, we got some pictures that we're going to go through. The first picture, Stephen, is one that you got. So why don't you tell us about this picture? And this would be in an area that I consider the metro area of Ground Zero, I guess. But tell us about this picture.
Yeah, this was found less than a mile and a half away from where we got the Dogman picture, where we found the first 2 trackways. My daughter and her boyfriend, they were the ones that actually found this right here, and that's his hand in the picture. So I mean, that's a pretty good sized track, and it's really clear. And the other thing that I didn't send you, but there are actually some smaller tracks with it. So to me, once again, just like we were getting pictures of baby Bigfoot with Mama, we knew that they were breeding because of that. The Dogman's also breeding, and they're still staying in the same area where the Bigfoot are. So that's to me that's
one of the clearest Dogman tracks that I've seen. William, what's your thoughts on this one?
Man, that it is one of the clearest kind. It's we got a couple more that we're going to show that may be the different species. One that's round, about 6 inches, got the little hooks on this. But that right there is one of the clearest tracks. It's not a coyote, man. How many coyote tracks do we see, Stephen? I mean,
coyote tracks. The coyote tracks, that'd be about like I don't know. They're maybe about like a boxer track or something.
Yeah.
They're just real big.
There's also a Dogman track that we've got 3 kinds. We got that kind, then we got the one I told you is rounder. Like I said, he's got the little hooks on the end. Then we got some there that appear to be a little elongated, maybe 6 to 7 inches, maybe a double pad, like where there's a heel and then a pad that he walks on. And it shows up sometimes like that right there, but it always has got the pointed toes and the claws just like that. Somebody, if I show that, somebody said, "Will, that's your footprint before you got your last pedicure." No, it's not. That's the real thing right there.
Yeah,
and,
those tracks. I remember when we found those tracks. They were longer. I mean, they definitely had the claws on the end.
Yep,
but it was kind of like you just had a different type foot with claws at the end of it.
Right. But that's a great track, man. I'm so pleased to be able to see that and know the credibility of who found it. Because there's no, and where it was found, there's no doubt in my mind what that is.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Matt, why don't you bring up the next one?
Macho Man.
That's Macho Man. Evidently, he's gotten shot or deformed somehow there, but that's it. But that's actually, so you can see one of the ears up there stuck up, and the way his eyes are kind of discombobulated there. But that's actually one of the Dogmen that we have up there. We call him Macho Man because he's kind of a wild looking dude there. But
that's to me it looks like he's lost a fat or two.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It does look like he's been hurt, and or could be a birth defect. We just don't know anything like that. But it has, like I said, he's lost a fight or two. But every time we get this picture of that booger right there, he comes out looking the same. I mean, he's got some kind of deformity there, but it's definitely one of the entities that we have up there at Ground Zero, and it's not a Bigfoot. It's you can kind of see the one looks like the ear he's got there on the. As I'm looking at it on the right hand side in this picture right here, and kind of the way the nose is kind of. So I'm 100% sure that's Dogman. I've got no reason to lie about that. Me and Stephen have worked with that picture, and I'm hoping that the more, as I said earlier, more features we get on our cell phones and our cameras, that we can get some of these cleared up. Stephen and I never delete a picture, so we can go back and maybe work on them. So I'm hoping that we can get that and so get this booger cleared up too. But we call him Macho Man.
Yeah, great photo. Great photo. Go ahead with the next one, Matt.
Boy, that right there, man, that dude right there, you can see the eyes actually kind of glowing right there. His eyes, the
Yes.
face is actually tilted. As you're looking at it, the face is going to be tilted to the left. You can see in the middle of there, you can see the nose there. And then down the bottom, you can kind of see teeth, but you can definitely see the eyes. That thing was put, and you can see the hair off the shoulders. It's on the ground down there, and he's actually sitting. They have a bad, like the witch there. You'll see a picture of the witch maybe in a minute, but you'll see how they let you sit there and just pose in front of the cameras there, what they have right there. So that's actually a dog man right there, and that was found in November 2 years ago. So I've looked at all the dates and stuff of our dog man pictures, and they're showing up at not just any certain month, but they're showing up periodically, randomly. So they have their I think their patterns are the ones they have, but I know that's not as clear, folks. But like I said, we had a lot of fog during that time. We just got our first rain after that right there. And of course, it tends to discombobulate what you got. But that's actually a dog man sitting right there, just looking at that camera from about 2.5 foot away with the camera on the ground.
Again, in studying that picture, you can make out the features, and again, another testament to Ground Zero and just what a unique and active research area this is.
Yeah, it really is. It's like I said, we're just been so lucky to find it. Y'all might have heard me say it before, but I truly believe it's probably the most active area in the United States, and I believe that with all my heart, because we've got everything there. We got Bigfoot, we got Dogman, we've got Gugway, and there's some other things that come, some tracks that we don't recognize, and pictures we don't recognize. But this place right here is I believe with all my heart. And sometimes Steve and I will get that video of that Bigfoot or the Dogman walking across there. I'm just now getting better. I got a different phone, so I'm getting better with my video recording instead of just taking the still shots. Getting better at doing that right there, and so. I'm hoping you'll get to see it. Like I'd like to present it tomorrow to y'all if I could, but it's raining on us right now. But I believe that, and I'm not just whistling Dixie there. I believe we'll get it because there's just that many creatures there. Man, that dude right there, I think you can see the shape of the head. You can see the ears sticking off a little bit. That's a nighttime pic, but he walked right up in front of our daggum camera right there. He's kind of got that funny shaped head and the ears. You can see the eyes are actually look like right there. More so, you can see its left eye than you can the right eye, but you can see the nose of the muzzle is fuller. That's another Ground Zero pic, and man, that's all it is. That's a dog man right there, and I filtered it every way that you can possibly filter it, and so I'm hoping that it's, and of course, that's coming off mine and Stephen's game cameras right there. Stephen's just responsible for all of this, even though if it comes from my camera or his camera, it don't matter. Stephen and I are both co-responsible for those things. And I run them by him before I say, well, here, let me go show somebody this. I don't want to make him look bad. But that's actually a Dogman pic. And you can see he kind of has that kind of high crest on his head there too as well. Like almost like a Bigfoot head, but it's not. But that's actually Dogman there. And that's there's one of the long-eared Dogmen that we got there, isn't it, Stephen? Right there. That one was got in October 2 years ago, October of 22. right there, and you can see the ear kind of sticking off. You see the snout, and you can actually see his snout pretty good.
Right.
And then you can see the nose right there. And so that's his, that's right there at ground zero. And very surprised to have gotten that picture. It's not probably, he's probably not 3 foot inside that wood line that we had just placed a new camera right there. So
yeah. Yeah. No, right there. That's where we found the abandoned deer stand. Found the antler.
Yep.
One antler we found there, really close to where this picture was taken from. The other one was left at the candy store.
Yep.
So it's yeah. So
Are you talking about the abandoned deer stand that you guys showed me there in the field, up in the tree, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that even looking at that, you can imagine, what happened. Why is this stand abandoned? And you wonder if there's a story behind it.
Well, 7 years, Stephen, now, and we've not seen
it's been 7 years and nobody's ever come back to get the stand. 7 years.
It makes me wonder if somebody got out of there in a hurry.
Yeah, there's a story behind that.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd give $1,000 to know what it is, man, because that's and that's actually probably about 10 feet right there where that stand is actually from about 10 feet from where I actually had the witch that's been over there looking at me like that. I'd had put the camera on the ground right there trying to trick one. And sure enough, he tricked me instead. When I get that first picture in my card reader and I look at it, man, it scares me. I mean, truly, I got chill bumps all over my body when I started looking at that. I'm like, oh my gosh. The first thing I do is get the head up and start looking around, make sure it's not looking around at me. This is the track that we're talking about a while ago, the different kind of track that's got the claws to the outside right there, like there. So you can see both those right there. Wow. That's about 6 inches by 6 inches. And then the 2 claws up at the top are displaced there, probably about a good 1/2 inch to 3/4. So that is a big track. That is not a bear. That is not a coyote. And it's right there, not too far from where we had found, where Stephen had got that trackway that he got those pictures of there. So, I mean, that's just, it's the sand was just perfect and conducive to having that kind of track. When I saw that track, like I said, it just made me go, oh no, as much as I know about tracks, that's not anything I recognize. And so, then after we got the other stuff there, realized that was Dogman track, and very, very, I hope that we find some more like that, but as he's going away from us instead of going towards us. But it's really interesting to see something like that when you see that it actually brings you into an alternate state with yourself. Like, oh my gosh, should I really be out here right now? But again, like I said, I'm armed when I go, and but I'm like Stevens. I'm not going to try to kill anything. They would have to. It would take a gugway. Now I would have killed that gugway down there at Sulphur River that day that was hiding. I told you on there I'd have killed him if I could. I just had a 40 caliber Glock that day. It didn't work out, but I would, because they say, I've told you about my Indian in there, Native American friend. He said, man, if you see Bigfoot, just sit there and just stand still. He'll generally walk on by, or else he'll walk away. He said, if you see Dogman, just be on your alert, and he said, just kind of watch what he does. He said, when you see Gugway, he said, you pull out your gun, get ready to shoot, because he's probably going to charge you. And so that, but that's a great track, man. It's just, look at the size of the pads on those things, the back pad of the foot and then the 2 side pads right there. It's not like anything I've ever seen, man. I'm 65 years old.
I've seen a lot of track pictures, but I have never seen one like that.
That's not a deer. That's not a hog. That's something else that's real down there.
Yeah. There he is.
That's going to be the best picture I've ever seen myself of Dogman right there. Like I said, Stephen actually, man, thank goodness he saw it. And y'all can look back over the Dogman's back and you can see a Bigfoot face and head actually looking. That's one of the, and then there to the right of the tree that's back there where that other Bigfoot is, you can see another Bigfoot coming up there. It looks almost like you can see the foot or the legs right there as he's coming up the hill starting to squat down. There's 2 back there you can see for sure. But that's the Dogman right there, and he's a whopper. He's a whopper. Like I said, no Stephen, Eagle Eye Stephen. I'm glad he saw that because, man, I mean, like I said, I was back there pulling up the rear, and that's one reason I have Stephen Hill as a research partner, man, because, he just, but he didn't freak out. Had a new phone, man. He dialed that sucker in like a pro, like the pro that he is. Sit there and got that picture right there, and that's one of the best Dogman pictures I've ever seen. And these things. What a lot of folks don't realize is you're stuck with these set of circumstances you have. You've got motion, you've got light, you've got wind. You could be dealing with low batteries, all kinds of things you're dealing with, and to have your picture turn out screwed up. But look at that thing looks just like a hyena. Those humped over shoulders. He had a mane there on his back. You can kind of see the mane. You can see the eyes and the real wide head. And like I said, I give Stephen all the credit in the world for that right there, man. I'm just there shivering while he's taking the picture. So he's a very, very, very good find, And then, like I said, to have the Bigfoot there behind it, shucks, it's you can't deny what those things are too. It's just
Yeah, it's. I've always thought to me the head's always just a little bit too big for the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We ought to name that one Charlie Brown because the big old head he's got.
Yeah.
But it is. You're right. The head's too big for the body. But that is probably the way these things. At least some of the ones that look down here around our area right there. And like I said, I mean, Stephen caught it right quick, man. So you see the arms hanging down. The arms are skinny.
Yep.
The legs, and it's up on two. You think he'd topple over being top heavy, but man, that dude was graceful when he stopped right there. And I think if he wasn't, the Bigfoot wouldn't be following him if he didn't have some kind of clout or presence or something like that in that pecking order right there where they trusted him, because they would. I don't think they would be at all, but you can see those. And then, like I said, that's one of the greatest pictures. Stephen. He comes up with some great stuff all the time. It's because his testament as a researcher. He knows this area. He knows ground zero as well as anybody out there. He's actually logged some of those areas up there, and he's got some stories he could tell you otherwise. And I actually found it just quite by accident out there. Had a Bigfoot walking over there down the highway, and when me and Reese were coming home from him preaching up a little congregation up there. And so that thing was walking down the highway, and sure enough, I thought it was a hitchhiker. And I said, Reese, watch that hitchhiker. I said, don't let him throw a bottle or anything. So he looks up and he's working on his phone. And also we get up and that thing turns around and gives me the face look. I'm like, Reese, it's a Bigfoot. Slammed on the brakes. You can see where he ran across through my doggone brake lights. And he ran onto that same tract of land right there. So when me and Stephen went out with his daughter and a friend of hers that night, and he and I were going to go do some Bigfoot research, and he pulled into the same doggone driveway. I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. And it did not disappoint, did it, buddy?
No, it didn't. I mean, that's that very night we got the eye shine video.
But we got the eye shine, sure did. Got that very night. I mean, we got three of them walking across that field, and everybody's like, oh, well, that's an owl, until you look and you see you got three of them there. The eyes actually change color, and you get the thing blinking at you, but the eyes are like 8 inches apart. I don't know if there's any owls with 8-inch eyes apart, man. I just don't want them to come down and swoop down on me, buddy.
Yeah. Those eyes were over 200 yards out there.
Yes, sir. Biggins.
Wow.
Yeah. There's the Dogman Trackway. See with that right there, this is the one I was telling you about that we believe this one was running, because the feet are directly in, the footstep is directly in front of the other footstep.
Right. I see that.
So that's what I believe on that right there. I believe that would be the difference.
They're like Bigfoot, and I think like that when they have what's called tightrope pattern, and that right there, as you can see, is classic tightrope pattern. I think Stephen's got it down to the nitty gritty for what it is right there. Like I said, it appears to be running because it's a little bit further away than the other tracks we found when it was walking like that.
Mm-hmm. And the difference between the Dogman Trackway here, these right here, these Dogman Trackways are usually step to step is usually around 30 to 36 inches, where I remember Reese was out there with us one time, and we were doing a trackway, and we had a tape with us, and it was averaging 52 inches in between footsteps.
Yeah.
The shortest one that we found was 48 inches. Then it went back to 52 inches again. Yeah. So that would be the difference between the Bigfoot and the Dogman inside.
Great pick.
You can see right here, looks like that same funky track we had a while ago there that was in the sand that had the hooks on the side, but looks like it may have been dampened down a little bit from the rain. But you can also see the impression of the foot, just see how long and wide that is. I'm sure that's probably the same style creature, if not the same creature. I really don't think it's the same creature, but it's the same type of Dogman as that one we got. And it's located we found that probably 10 feet away, but on a probably a month to a month and a half different on different day there. So
yeah. And the other thing at ground zero, if you don't find the tracks pretty quick, they disintegrate very fast. Ground zero.
That sand up there and the way the ground is, it's like it rained like crazy the other day. And like I said, by that afternoon, if you have a good breeze, of course, being in the hills and that breeze coming off the hills like that, whenever you have the tracks like here, like I said, those tracks, everything, the whole ground is almost back to normal within a day to a day and a half. So if you don't find them, like I said, you're and that's really frustrating, man. We get so excited. We see some track and we'll follow them. Oh man, we're going to get a better track. Then we get up there where the ground consistency has changed and they just disappear, it's not because whatever the being is disappearing. It's just the way that's why it's so hard to get good tracks sometimes. You've been there, Daniel. Me and you were there after we got saw that big one standing in that tree. 22-inch track over there, man, right there on the side of the field right there, So okay, this is a Gugway, man. There he is right there. That's a or down there in the Texarkana area right there, not too far from Sulphur River. But you can see the snout, you see the brow ridge right there. You can actually see some of the ears are kind of like what a canine has right there, and you can see his right there is some of the roots right there, and his head is stuck down between those roots, and he's just sitting there just looking still. So finally, I stayed still long enough. They kind of just tilted his head a little, kind of wiggled them ears, and looked at his partner. And which is what my Native American friend told me. He said, did he turn around and look over his shoulder? I said, yeah. He said, he said, he's got a partner. So he's trying to communicate with his partner. So anyway, I'm sitting there looking at that. When I already had my cell phone out and everything, I might not even got that picture, but I already had it out because I had seen him come up from the bottoms chasing me, I think coming to meet me. And then where I did, I just got that picture and then I left. But it was 2 days before I could go back because of PTSD. And finally, Risha got me for Father's Day, he got me that 45-70. And so with that 40 caliber Glock, I wasn't even going to think about going back. But you can see him right there. I know this, and that's daytime. And it's on March the 3rd, 2020. I think I said the other night, May the 3rd, but I meant to say March the 3rd, 2020, right after Keith Crabtree's camp out right there.
Yep.
And so that's him right there coming off the Sulphur River bottoms. But man, that brought me to a whole new rude awakening with Bigfoot, because that's the first Gugway I'd actually ever seen. Like I said, and that's a pretty good picture. It really is. I'm not saying that because I took it. These things are hard to find with all the things that you have to shoot through. And there he is, just sitting there, just waiting. Like, come on by here, Will. I've got something for you. I'm like, I know you do. Like your right claws or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that right there would make a lot of sense, as to why there's some of those territory markers down there at Thornton's Wells.
Yep, exactly right. Exactly right.
There's that full trackway.
Yep. That's old Eagle Eye Steven right there, man. I mean, he saw it, and I don't know if I was there. I don't think I was there, but anyway, he seen it and showed it to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, man! I'm glad I still got a Bigfoot hunting partner now. But you look at that, there they are right there in the tightrope pattern. About 30 inches apart as far as the way he's stepping, and he's actually upright. He's not on forward. There's only those two kind of tracks there in there, Stevens. They're only the rear feet.
That's it. You got the right foot and the left foot, back foot, and that's it.
And you can see the consistency of the dirt that we have there at ground zero. When we say that the tracks will dissipate so quickly there, the way that sand is kind of a brown sand. It has a brown, probably 3 to 4 inches underneath layer, and I think it just sucks those things up pretty good. So if you've got to, anytime it rains, we try to get up there as quick as what we possibly can, because we know the chance of losing, if we have any tracks there, is going to be of them going away. So again, this kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking at through there on ground zero, and that road runs up to the middle of ground zero, right there where those tracks were found. That's the picture we got of Dogman. He come in there late. and so you can see the eyes, you can see the nose, you can actually see part of the teeth there, but for whatever reason that was right there, like I said, it came in more blurry than what I wished it had, and but there were actually Dogman tracks. He's kind of behind a tree right there, sticking that head out. There were tracks around that doggone tree, but you can see that where he has got his head reached around there and looking at you. And man, we get them like that. Like I said, it's frustrating as all get out. Nobody wants better pictures than we do, but when you do, they turn out that way. But still, it's not like we're all ignorant. Nobody around here. The animals that you're around, you tend to recognize their profiles. You tend to recognize what they look like as far as the shape and stuff. And this right here, I mean, and you can even see he's got the little bit longer ears on him right there. So that's a dog man, and I don't know what he's all upset about, but it looks like he's got those teeth bared for a reason. Go ahead, Stephen. Was that the one from your house? It was. I can't see it as well right now. A lot of glare.
I'm trying to remember which picture that is.
I want to say that's from down around your house, if I'm not mistaken.
That quite possibly could be. It's trying to recall that one. And I'm not recalling that one at the moment. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That happens when you get a lot of pictures. It was with my Dogman pic, so I'm sure it has something to do with Dogman. If I keep little.
That right there could be the one from I took the picture from my yard, from my garden. Yeah, that could be that one. Okay,
that's what I was thinking. One was
because there was actually a Bigfoot and a snouted face booger there right at each other.
Yep.
Because I think that's what that was, because it looks like it could be some of the vines that used to be there prior to the tornado.
Yeah.
And on that particular day, I knew something was up because Scratch and Tank, I had let them outside, and I'd gone out there to let them back in. And Scratch and Tank, they had just come to the door of the house, and they weren't barking. They didn't want to be in the yard. They wanted to come back inside. So, and I didn't spot things immediately. So I just started snapping pictures, and started snapping pictures, and I went toward the pond. And whenever I looked to the right of the yard, that's when I spotted them, because the one had a bit of some of the Bigfoot will have gray skin.
Right.
I don't know why, but this one actually had a touch of a gray skin on the face.
Right.
And that's how I was able to spot it, because that gray skin just stuck out. But that's what that was. I mean, because of Scratch, I knew whenever she got really quiet that I needed to be paying attention. The only time she ever kind of barked, it wasn't really. It certainly was not an aggressive bark, but I had walked out away from the carport toward the tree line, and she came out there with me because she knew there was one out there. And I wish I could really describe that bark. It's kind of one of those barks where she's just alerting you to let you know something's out there, but she really wants no part of it.
Yep.
And that's the best way I can describe the bark that she did. And that's kind of like, oh, okay, you barked for me. I know what's out here now. Let's go back in the house. And I didn't have to tell her twice.
Yeah.
But she went to the house.
Wasn't she a boxer, Stephen? Scratch? Boxer.
Yeah.
She was a pit bull sized boxer. She was a wonderful dog. Man, loving dog. Loved to play and everything. But you could tell when she was serious, there would be something different. Even whenever I drive up sometimes, me and Stephen be outside, and you could tell that there was something out there that was different than what Scratch was normally used to.
Yeah. She was a brindle-colored German boxer is what she actually was.
Yeah, that's it. There's another one right there. We got this last year, February 2023, right there. And there he is hiding in the bush right there, and you see them dark eyes. It's the almost the teardrops around the eyes, and he's hiding in that brush, but you can see those nasty teeth right there that he's got right there. And almost like I said, almost like the doggone witch house right there. He's hiding it. He's not 10 feet from the camera right there, just peeping at what we got right there around us. Some of the pine trees that Stephen and I have around there. But you can see the head is kind of almost like a conical shaped as well. So very, very sobering picture, something to make you realize you need to be aware. You know,
yeah, with that one right there, that might be interesting to compare that one to the Beast of Seven Shoots.
Yeah, exactly. The Beast of Seven Shoots is probably the most popular picture for you folks that don't know is the most popular picture that they have of
Dogman.
Yeah, of Dogman. And so it's actually got a little puppy or a cat or something other in its I think in its arms as far as it goes. But like I said, it appears to be a whole lot like that creature. That right there appears to be black. Got some gray around the face. Like I said, you can see the wider nose that it has. Its nose a little bit wider. Those teeth is just. I've got another shot of that, and that is teeth. That's not berries. That's not limbs or anything. That is teeth. It just got a different kind of teeth than what Bigfoot normally has. So that's what makes me think you almost see the canines coming up from the bottom right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the last one we got in the slideshow.
Well, folks,
those
like
are some
me and
fascinating
Steven,
pictures, guys.
those we got some of them there. Based on the limited equipment that we have, we got a studio down here now that we're gonna be able to shoot some stuff through. His equipment tends to clean up some of them pictures a little better. So next time that we do a shot with Stephen and Daniel and I, we'll try to put some pictures up there, and they actually clear up quite a bit. You can see that that is what we're talking about is exactly what's there. We have no reason to try to lie to you folks. It's just some of that stuff that you see is just when I say it's indescribable, it's not just because of any of the blurriness or anything with pictures, but what you're looking at is something that's not supposed to exist. There's the picture is not in the dictionary. It's not on Amazon or it's not on Google. So those are things that like I said, we're lucky enough to get, and some come in clear, some don't, but nevertheless, we're all smart enough that we can realize, hey, there's something there that's not necessarily supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Before we close, let me toss the baton up to Matt Slater and Quincy Washington one more time.
Well, there's some incredible photos you guys have, and I'm glad you're both safe out there in the woods with these potentially extremely dangerous creatures out there. It's just incredible photos. Thank you for sharing them with us.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Matt. Man, I appreciate you saying that. Like Steve and I tell people, and this is the honest truth, there may be better researchers, but there's not any that work any harder. And when we get through, we're soaking wet, body cramps, having to crawl up a hill nearly on our hands and knees, just to, but hey, we're wading creeks, things like that to try to get everybody the real scoop of what all is actually out there. And there's nothing that he and I, don't do. Not that we're superheroes, but that we don't do. If there's a good picture of Bigfoot to be had, man, we found some somewhere. Stephen found some one time where they are actually climbing trees, and that's the honest truth. They can do it.
Yeah, it's I've actually from different jobs that I've been on. It's I've had them multiple times come up to where I've spotted them. I mean, it's I'm honestly not sure how many times it is now, 4 or 5 times at least. And I've taken pictures at least 3 or 4 times from on the job where they're actually watching me work.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you have that fortunate circumstance where you're in the woods a lot, and just the things that you see must be quite fascinating. And William, you retired from a job where you had contact with a lot of people and heard a lot of different stories, and as well as made a lot of observations yourself when you were out. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Stephen Hill from Locksburg, Arkansas, William Lunsford from Texarkana, Arkansas. They are our mentors and part of our CWR team. And guys, thank you for coming on and sharing your great photos and stories about Dogman.
Well, thanks to y'all, and thanks also to our veterans
Yes.
because of what they did, we get to do what we do, man. They sacrificed, like I said, some all gave some, but some gave all. And there's not a single one of us here listening tonight that hadn't at least had somebody in their family that was a veteran or have been affected in some way. So thank you to the family. Thank you to them for what they've done for us.
Yeah.
And and I mean that with all my heart, man. That means
Yep.
really, I take that so seriously, that we live in the great country we can, where people died and lived so we can go to the woods and look for Bigfoot. It kind of
Yep.
puts our Bigfoot looking into perspective for what they gave. But thanks to everybody, and thank y'all for having us on here, man. Thanks to Stephen for being such a great partner. Like I said, you're going to see in my new book I have called Searching for the Unfindable, Finding the Impossible, about got it ready, that how much my research changed once Steve and I got back together and doing stuff like that, because we actually have places, like I said, we can fully believe, and I'm not pulling your leg, that we can go in there and have a Bigfoot encounter just on any random day. Me and Daniel did it. We had one put a big rock in front of my truck. I was going to have to drive in front of over the rock there. They letting us know, hey, I'm here. I'm like, oh, I know you're here. And then we had one scream at us that day, and we both just freaked out, and then when we got little mama and the babies over there, doing the samurai chatter, me and Daniel said, well, Daniel, just while we're waiting, take some pictures. Not expecting anything. Daniel sends a picture. There's a Bigfoot 40 foot in front of us, standing outside, leaning his head outside the doggone tree. Got some that way this year, too, as a matter of fact. Got one there that's probably 20, 25 feet away. It's got his head kind of peeked out. Every time you see a Bigfoot like that, they're going to have their head tilted. They're never going to give you a straight up shot like that. I guess they know what could happen, But when you see them like that right there, so that's a tip for you. If you're looking for Bigfoot, kind of look for that head tilted in that way. That'll kind of give you an idea. Hey, that's maybe just what I think it is.
Yeah, and folks, I know William. He's built me up a lot, and I appreciate all your kind words. But I promise you that William made me much better researcher than what I was doing on my own.
I appreciate that too.
He really did. He taught me some things that I wasn't looking for. He taught me a lot, And whenever you have somebody that can put you on the right path, I mean, that's really good to do it the correct way.
So that's why we've been successful. Like I said, you put us together, where I may falter Stephen strong, where Stephen may be a little not as strong, then I may be a little bit stronger. But we've all experienced so much. And when I found out he had Bigfoot, not only that he had seen him, had I been friends, we didn't talk about it, but that he also has him on his property. Hey, pretty cool thing,
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess I'm still having activity. I mean, it's I guess most people know William and we both hunt, and I have one particular spot on my property where I take what I can't use from a deer, and that's where I always put it. And with one deer, I mean, it was basically from the head to the tail, the carcass, what I couldn't use, I put it all down. And the whole thing's gone.
Yep.
The entire thing. I had left the heart, the lungs, the liver, everything inside of that cavity, and something took the whole thing.
Yep.
You guys are in a fantastic area, and as I say, you two are the generals of cryptid research. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. So on behalf of the entire CWR research team, we'll see you next time.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.